even outside of school. You know, you got bookshops here. I send my brethren in Brazil and in Africa and South America, I send them books. Why? Because books are £30. The average wage is $200 a month. You do the maths. It's £30 just for a regular book, and I'm earning $200 a month. I'm not going to be able to read that. So even little things like that, when you start to travel, you start to kind of get a sense of, actually, we've got a lot of problems, but we've got access to so much. And I see, like I said, in my own life, I've got some friends that was caught up in the most madness, and they've managed to turn their life around. Why? Because they had a certain base of knowledge. The ones that never had that base of knowledge have not managed to do that, and they've ended up in some of the places we've spoken about. Other ones, like I said, I've got friends that have been through all the cycles that these rappers talk about, and I look at them today. One's got a degree, you know, another one's doing this, another one's doing that, and it's possible, but why can't we just do without the nonsense? You understand what I'm saying? Like from here, how do you apply what you get out of this next year to your life going forward? I can tell you some of the things that happened with me and sort of my journey. I used to play football. I played for West Ham as a teenager, and for Wimbledon a little bit after that. And my closest friend actually at the time was someone who also played for West Ham as well. He's not from far up here. I'm from Archway. He was from Tottenham. And we used to hang around together. We both played football, and sort of he didn't make it either. We sort of went on the wrong track a little bit post-secondary school. But what I realised was, even throughout school, just that alone, I used to have to get on a train 3 times a week on my own. I didn't go out with my dad. You know, mum was working. So I was on my own from 12, 3 times a week going to Romford. Anyone know where Romford is? Yeah. It's far when you're in the 12. Right? So I was on the train, and that was a very racist area back then. Very crazy. Like, it wasn't abnormal for, I used to have an Indian friend we used to go with, it wasn't abnormal for people to shout obscenities out the window. Like, you know the kind of thing I'm talking about. And so it was an interesting change of environment. So we used to go to Romford 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday mornings, and I realised through my whole teenage years, that helped me keep me almost insulated. Because even though, like I said, I'm not saying I never made no mistakes, because I did, but it meant that there was a limited window of time for me to be on the block. A limited window of time for me to be, because I was occupied. You know, and so I feel like, even though I don't play football now, football was part, again, along with people like Brother Andrew Mohammed, along with people like Brother Basil Mohammed, who was a teacher at my old school, along with my godfather and certain other people in my life, and my mum, that little bit of guidance and love is the big difference between prison, death, jail, drug addiction, all the other problems that I've seen some of the people of our age we go with, and being where I am today, where I talk to my brethren who've been through that cycle, I talk to people that I know, a friend of ours got deported. You know? He wasn't born here, he's been here since he was 2. Because he wasn't born here and he got in too much trouble, I just sent him home. Deported him. Your whole family's here, everyone's here, but if that's the road you want to take, go back to where you came from. And that's one of the policies that are being dealt with right now. So it's one of the things that we've got to think about. And so it's about self-definition. And what I got from Brother Andrew, and we're going to deal with a bit of the history side of it, what I got from having some sort of understanding of myself, who I am, where I came from, it helped defend me from the stereotypes, if you like. There are certain stereotypes that exist in this country of different groups of people, you know, and if we don't have accurate knowledge about the history of those people, about what it really means to be from a particular part of the world or a particular environment, if the only images we have, let's say, are rap music and MTV, and we base our entire opinions, in this case particularly of African Caribbean people, on that image, and if no one's never taught us any different, how can we move forward and have a genuine sense of self and a feeling of entitlement? Like, I work in schools often, and young kids associate, I notice, being intelligent with a particular type of person or particular strata of society, because that's what they're seeing. But when I travel to places like Sudan, no one has that association, because they see being smart as just their entitlement. Because the Nubians, the people who are from Sudan, they have 226 pyramids, 3 times the amount of...
That's right.
And they still have that history right there, so they know what it is. So you can't convince them that being what they are is not about being smart. And it's like, all of these experiences, it's only now I get to realise how they shape who you are, what you're going to become, and how if you don't get that knowledge early, what the consequences are. Same like that workshop I did in prison the other week, and I've done a few before. I do a lot of history, and we're gonna deal with some of that in a minute. And I literally see people, when you show them certain images, their whole view of the world changing like that. Because they have a view of the world, and ultimately of themselves, maybe, based on inaccurate information. So then when they see different information, like, oh. And so, I don't know, knowledge really is power. And you look at the people who've done well.